Two sides spiteful and determined. Chapter 2. The plan. Beth dropped the Nilla folder on the paper-covered coffee table. Grace wheeled out the big whiteboard that has figured out many cases. Scott took a deep breath, then clipped the new Antonio mugshot on the board. This is our big fish. This is what we came back to Los Campos for. I know I said I would never come back, he paused, but this guy deserves the worst and these people deserve the best to catch him. Talk to me, Beth, what do we know so far? Okay, Antonio Mendoza. 5'10", 220 pounds, ethnicity is Hispanic, and his charges are possession and distribution of laced cocaine. Possession of firearms and weaponry along with some other smaller charges. But of course the biggest one of them all is bond jumping. In conclusion, one bad dude. Scott scribbled the notes on the whiteboard, then pinned another picture up. Cesar Kioka, also known as Tricky. He is 6'1", weighs around 200 pounds, ethnicity Hawaiian, and charges are also possession of some drugs, a previous case of grand theft auto that has been cleared and time served. But again, bond jumping and violating parole. So how are these two connected? I thought we were just chasing Antonio? Justin asked. We were until we put two and two together that Antonio and Tricky could be running mates. Beth answered. Let's start from the very beginning like we do all our cases and call the cosigner. Scott replied. Beth hesitated. I don't know, I don't think that's a good idea. Grace began to dial the number, but that's what we always do and we come out most of the time successful. Freeze, sweetie. Beth grabbed Grace's hand. This time around is different. Most of our guys that we get are not wanted in multiple states and a severe danger to society. The last thing we want is for word to get out then he's gone. Bethy is right. If we don't catch this guy then we are all out of business. There is too much riding on this one. I say we hit the cosigner's address first and go from there. Who is our cosigner again? Dewey asked. Beth responded, it looks like the sister. Her name is Salia Mendoza. When we ran her name nothing came up, so it doesn't look like she's ever been in any kind of legal trouble, at least with us. We found they have assets in Mexico, so it's possible their dirty work continues over there. That's odd though, usually it's the whole family or nothing. Justin stated. Scott pointed out, look, there is a possibility this can turn into a Jack and Jill case where both the brother and sister go down together. If he is there and she is there at the same time we can get her too. Even if she's never done anything against the law we can charge her with aiding and abetting a fugitive. Even though it's not her we want. Quite frankly, getting Tricky can wait until Antonio is behind bars. Beth said. Wouldn't that scare him deeper into hiding though? Grace asked. Scott laughed, he can hide wherever he wants, but at the end of the day we are going to get him. Now let's hit this address while it's still light out. Salia's house was in the east side while the Bounty's Bonds home office was in the south side. It was about a 20-minute drive to the east side. This was perfect because it was nice and close in case they had to make an emergency catch. The neighborhood was on the border of the west and east side, practically where the sun never reached. Beth reached for her radio, so hubby, what's the game plan if he isn't there? You don't think he would be? I think it would be too easy of a catch if he was. If we strike and he isn't there, do we have to worry about neighbors calling him up? She replied. Scott pondered, okay, you, Grace and Dewey do a drive-by and see if it's legitimate, then park around the corner. Once you give us the clear, Justin and I will roll up. Why is it always Justin and Dad and I get stuck as the driver? Hush, baby. Grace will take over and you can run over there to help with the action. Beth said. Dewey rolled his eyes under his sunglasses. Beth got back on the radio a copy. Stay hidden so it doesn't look suspicious that two blacked out SUVs are surrounding this house. Hey. Hey. It looks like someone's home. Grace exclaimed, I swear I just saw the curtains move. Okay, boys, get right behind us because it looks like we have a potential target, proceed with caution. Beth reported. Dewey threw the car in park then sprinted to catch up with his brother and dad. Dewey, surround the back. Justin, take the side. Scott yelled as he ran up the porch. He pounded on the front door, come on out, boy. We know you're in there. Dewey aimed his pepper ball gun at the back of the door and Justin shouted something in the distance. Scott continued banging on the windows and front door, but there was no answer. His eyes were drawn to the driveway and he called for the boys, Justin, get over here and investigate this car. Dewey, stay put, we don't want to risk someone running out the back. Justin got down on his knees and looked underneath. Dad, it looks like this car has been here for a while. Look at the spider webs on the tires and the layer of dirt covering the windshield. Scott shook his head. No, but it's here. Search the neighborhood and start passing out mugshots. Let's light this place up while we can. Rookie mistake. Justin scoffed at his little sister. Grace rolled her eyes and handed him a stack of mugshots. One by one the surrounding neighbors started to peek out their windows to see what all the yelling was about. An older gentleman hobbled over to where Dewey was standing. Excuse me, sir, have you seen this man before? The gentleman squinted through his glasses. Why, yes, I have. The last I've heard is he isn't welcome back here anymore. There might be some people here trying to do him some favors, but I'll tell you now, everyone has seen this guy. And if they tell you no, then they're lying. Dewey's eyes widened. Okay. This is perfect. Can I get you to talk to my dad? The man nodded and pointed with his cane for Dewey to lead the way. Hey, I know you. You're the best in all of Los Campos. The gentleman exclaimed. Thank you, but we are trying to keep it on the low so he doesn't go into hiding more. My son says you have information on Antonio? The gentleman leaned in close to Scott. If you are trying to lay low, I'm sure he is already aware that you're out here. Somebody in this crowd is making a phone call. This is his sister, Salia. House and people are always coming and going, but nobody ever goes inside. I maybe see her actually every few months. Don't get me wrong, they are nice people, but very secretive. From what I know, they have a lot of family in Mexico and are down there a lot of the time. I see 2 kids sometimes, and a tall male. Antonio used to be out here all the time either grilling or working on that car in the driveway, but since things started getting serious, he stopped coming around. This tall male? What did he look like? Beth asked. He's a very generic pale skin, blonde hair, skinny. He looks like he doesn't fit in here at all, but he is very genuine. Coming from me, I think Salia is just caught up into her family's big mess. Justin joined, coming and going, doing what? He answered, they always just grab something off the porch then leave. Sometimes there is some digging through the trash or snooping on the side of the house. It's almost like this house is just the messenger for something. Scott rummaged through his pocket. If you have anything else or see anybody, call me on this number. Scott and the gentleman shook hands as they parted ways. Grace took one last look at the sad beige house as she finished passing out mugshots. The paint was chipped and wood was missing in some spots. The grass was completely dead, just like the spirit of the home. Well, that was a bust, Justin stated. Why, just because it wasn't an easy catch? Dewey replied. You know I like the chase, but no, because now he knows we are looking. Beth climbed in the back seat. We don't know that for sure, son. She spoke on her radio. Well, what's next, hubby? Scott's reply was muffled. Pull into the superstore parking lot a couple blocks down. Dewey looked at Beth in the mirror. She sighed. Whatever daddy says goes. Okay, pull over right here away from everyone, Scott said over the radio. Beth leaned in through Scott's window. Call her. Okay, all right, fine. Our cover is already blown, so might as well come clean, Scott said as he pulled out his phone. Everyone gathered in anticipation as he dialed the number. The number you are trying to reach is no longer in service. If you think you have the right number, please redial and try again later. No freaking way. It's on now. No more mercy, Scott scoffed. Was there ever going to be mercy though? Justin laughed. 4 a.m. A violent buzzing shook the nightstand. Beth hit Scott's arm. "Are you going to answer that?" Scott flipped on the bed light and reached for the second phone that was strictly an emergency tip line for bounties. "It only rings so many times," Beth replied. "It's the middle of the night, we can't go get him anyways without the crew." "I'll just let it go to voicemail," he stated.